So, do you think it's fair to say that you and I are now internet celebrities?
No, I wouldn't say that. I think
You know,
in a very small, peculiar corner of the internet, maybe.
yeah, a very unique and wonderful corner of the internet.
Yeah.
Well, I noticed that Johnny decided to get in on the action,
Yeah,
and he made a video, didn't he,
he did.
about things that we'll talk a little bit about later, and you edited that video,
That's right.
and I wanted to just talk to you about that for a moment,
Right.
right? Because Johnny Nottenbelt, Dr. Johnny Nottenbelt, who did his PhD in artificial intelligence, which is robot brains,
Skynet construction.
went to Google, right, and single-handedly invented the driverless car, Chrome,
Yeah.
Google Glass,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
YouTube and everything else,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
On the video, you described him as programmer.
Do you think that's slightly?
Programmer.
Is that slightly derogatory? Do you think?
Now, on our videos, right, on our videos, you describe yourself as the creative director,
Yeah.
Francis DeLay Coppola, in your director's chair.
I understand what you're getting at now.
And I'm like the executive producer or something,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
I'm going to make you a star. And Johnny gets programmer. Here we are, Alpha 21.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm very excited. I'm always excited. I love this time of the month.
It's an exciting time, isn't it? All the work we've done in the month comes together.
That's right. That's right.
And then we hope it works in the alpha video.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we edit it out when it doesn't.
Yeah, that's right.
Right, should we look at some new stuff then?
Let's do that.
Right, so I think you may be aware that our community, bless them, they've been translating the game into many different languages.
Wonderful, aren't they?
they've just-
Bienvenue, welcome.
They've just gone ahead and done it all for us, despite our attempts to insult all of mainland Europe in a previous alpha video that time, when we tried to do some accents.
Well,
So
and the USA, we did them as well. We've done everyone, haven't we?
yeah, we don't leave anyone out. Obviously, we work our way around. So what we've done is we've decided that integrating the language system more thoroughly into the game is a really good idea, because
Yeah.
from the point of view of somebody, say, who doesn't speak English, who launches the game for the first time, it's actually quite difficult to find our language selector.
Well, also, we shouldn't be treating them as second-class citizens, should we?
Absolutely, yeah,
It's
absolutely.
not good. It's not good.
And they have to, previously you had to kind of go to the Steam mod system and find the language pack that you wanted amongst all the different Steam mods and install it and then activate it.
Right.
So we've changed it now, so that now in the main menu you can see there's a language flag
Ah,
in
look
the
at
top
that.
left. Right, and if you click on that fella, it takes you immediately to a language selector. Now these language packs, these are not installed on my computer, these are taken directly from Steam. So this is a list of all active Steam language packs. Okay?
Why is Gary? Was that Italian Gary?
So the person that did the Italian translation, for some reason, took Gary's picture and, and made it into the pack. So if I click select, it'll automatically download the Steam mod and activate
Look at
it.
that, it's in Italian!
And now it's in Italian, right? Or some of it is.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, so like the main menu and things. And if you... so now the language that we've picked is now listed up here in the top left. Pretty good, eh?
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Yeah. So all those people
That's
that
good.
are working on language packs, keep at it, because there's
Yeah,
now a
please
much easier way for players to get to your language packs directly from the main menu.
Yeah.
All right, straight back to English, so I can carry on. Shall we talk about something big?
Yes. I like talking about big things.
Big things, mate. Drug abuse.
Ah, drug abuse.
We've finally
Drug
gotten
abuse.
around
Now,
to tackling drug abuse. So now, within this prison, we have a number of people who are addicted to drugs. Let's see if we
Okay.
can find one. Here's one. So this guy is addicted to heroin. It says so in his biography. All right.
Okay.
And what happens is, if people have come in with... sometimes prisoners will arrive with drug addictions. Right?
Yeah.
Pre-existing addictions. And sometimes they'll bring their own drugs in with them.
Yeah.
And at other times, people who don't have drug addictions but happen to be really bored or really uncomfortable or whatever
Yeah.
will take drugs if they're available. Now, if
Right.
you remember, you can get drugs from all around the prison. Right? There's all kinds
Yeah,
of places. Now, we've narrowed it down slightly, and now visitation is one of the primary places where drugs can be brought in.
Yeah.
All kinds of drugs, and alcohol as well. prisoners can also steal alcohol from the offices. You can see there's all the administrative offices. They've all got a little bottle of Johnny Walker in their bottom drawer.
Yeah, okay.
Alanis Morissette lyrics again. What the hell?
You love her.
Yeah. So drug addictions people who don't have any prior addiction can become addicted. And the way that it works is these guys have been caught and they're currently locked up. Right? They've been punished for having drugs with them.
Okay.
And this guy, look at this guy over here. He's puked all over his son.
Steele's in trouble, man. He's overdosing.
He's not overdosing. He's probably in withdrawal. He's coming down from not having enough drugs, right? So he actually, interesting. He's been on the methadone program and failed. It didn't work for him.
Okay. Poor Steele.
Yeah. So drug addiction is actually it kind of fucks your jail up. It kind of messes you up if you let it take hold, because every time prisoners take drugs, their addiction gets stronger, and their desire to get more drugs gets stronger, and so they'll steal more things and they'll try and import more things through visitation. If they don't get any drug, if they become addicted and they don't get any drugs, they go into withdrawal, and when they're withdrawn, they're kind of, I don't have any examples to show you in this prison, but they're kind of jittery and they bounce around, they bounce off the walls as they're walking around, and they're significantly more likely to get into fights and things like that. They're a lot more easy to anger.
Okay.
And so the different drugs that exist at the moment, we've got, so that guy was addicted to heroin, wasn't he?
Serious.
We have cocaine as well. We have marijuana in the game. We don't have a complete list yet. We don't have an exhaustive list of all drug types, because partly I've been trying to think about what sort of drugs actually make it into prisons. And how, like the different methods that they actually come in.
Well, I think drugs they're such an integrated part of prisons and offending. And, you see stats, don't you? I don't know what they're based on, but saying things like, 50% of crime, drugs related and all the rest of it.
Yes.
And I think that we do need to take the time to handle drugs properly and sensitively, because all drugs are not the same.
Yeah, absolutely.
There definitely are differences and differences in effect and differences in addiction and risk and all sorts of things.
Well, each of the drugs that we have in the game, and alcohol as well, I'm counting them all under narcotics, all have a different effect on the prisoners. Prisoners that are drunk kind of sway from side to side and puke occasionally. Generally act in a drunk manner. It's a very different effect to somebody that's high on cocaine, for example. Each has a slightly different effect. And as we add more drugs in, we'll add more effects in for them. And the come down effects are different as well. Also, each drug has a kind of a chance of overdose as well. The more addicted the person is, the more likely that overdose is to happen, because they're just taking it and taking it and taking it. So alcohol doesn't really have any overdose chance, but heroin and cocaine both do.
Does it have zero overdose chance, or
alcohol? Yes, alcohol has alcohol in the game has zero overdose chance, because alcohol is like a long-term poison, isn't it? You die from like liver failure and things. You don't really.
Well, I guess you can.
You don't really drink a pint. Well, yes, I suppose, but that's not really an overdose, is it?
No, but you've made a decision which I think is reasonable.
Yes, it's not like you take some booze and then die.
Look,
if we ever get round to putting like homebrew hooch in,
true.
Brew your own toilet hooch.
True,
then maybe we'll have it, because if you ferment, if you make your own hooch, and by fermentation, and you drink the most potent stuff that comes off first, that's supposed to be toxic, isn't it?
Well, there are different types of alcohol, aren't there?
Yeah.
And some of the alcohols are extremely deadly. But they will kill you. So maybe we'll experiment with that.
So if you boil away the nastiest stuff first, don't you?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, so we have this concept of like an overdose event. So if I for demonstration effect, if I pick on a random bloke, like this dude, here you go, bad luck fella, let's have him overdose. Let's see, where am I going? I have to press this. You get this flashing warning, right? Overdose event at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah.
And if you go and have a look, you'll see here he is. He's overdosed. Right? He's unconscious. He'll puke all over the place and stuff.
And why isn't that guard not doing anything?
The guard doesn't do anything. You need to bring a doctor over
at
the moment. Now, I'm going to get it so they take him to medical ward eventually.
Yeah.
If you leave him there, he'll die, right?
Okay.
If the overdose runs its course, he has a very high chance of dying.
Yeah.
You have to bring over... Do we have any doctors?
Oh, no.
Here we go. Right. You have to bring over a doctor if there's been an overdose. It's kind of like a medical emergency.
Yeah.
It's the first medical emergency we've kind of put in the game, where you have to get people out to them quickly.
Right. Here she comes, Dr. Tancredi.
Yeah, Tancredi. Yeah, exactly. That was a good series, wasn't it?
It was a good series, yeah.
So we managed to get there in time and save him. If you don't save him in time, he'll die of his overdose. So you can see here, for example, under the programs list, we now have a methadone program and an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting.
Okay.
This is actually the Alcoholics Anonymous meeting occurring right here in the common room. Right. So these dudes that are sat around in a circle here, you see they've all got the booze addiction next to their.
So they're all giving it the whole. I'm Shopland and I'm an alcoholic.
Exactly. Yeah. All right, Shopland. Hello.
Yeah. I've got 4 days clean. We shouldn't mock these people.
No, we
but,
shouldn't. No.
You know.
Oh wow! Look at that.
Look at that.
That's good. Isn't it?
Yeah.
That's not in the alpha though. It's a non-alpha feature.
Oh, okay.
So
Spoiler.
These guys will sit around and run their Alcoholics Anonymous meeting, and at the same time, Alcoholics Anonymous there's no chemical treatment or anything. It just helps them.
Yeah.
It helps them to get away from their alcohol addiction.
Yeah.
And they can never really fully cure it. All they can do is help to reduce the amount of demand that they have.
That's right. They never say they're cured, do they? They always say, I'm a recovering alcoholic.
That's right, yeah.
Even after 40 years.
So this guy is exactly that.
alcoholic.
In fact, he's a recovering alcoholic.
Tragic. Yeah.
So
yeah.
he may not have drunk any booze for a while, but he'll still be an alcoholic and he'll always be there. Yeah. The other program, the methadone program, is more of a chemical program. It's for people who are addicted to heroin. But we're using it as a general purpose name for any drug addiction that can be cured through a chemical supplement instead. Yeah. So that takes place in the medical ward. Prisoners go to the medical ward and get an injection or a tablet or something like that. And what it does is it gets rid of their desire for the drug for a temporary period.
Right.
So for like a 12-hour period, their craving for the drug will be heavily reduced.
Yeah.
And if they do that for long enough, the addiction will fall away. There's an alternative way that you can deal with it. If you're not really into all that methadone program, Alcoholics Anonymous
This
stuff,
is going to be badass, isn't it?
Which is that you can lock them up in solitary.
Right.
For a long period of time and force them through cold turkey, effectively.
Train spotting
style, exactly. And to facilitate that, there's no automated way to do it yet. I'm going to make it so there is in future.
Yeah.
You can now click on arbitrary prisoners, say, let's just pick on one randomly. He doesn't have an addiction, but if I pick on him randomly, and there's now a new punish menu. Right? Dark.
Punish him.
I can assign him 24 hours of lockdown. Right.
Hey,
just
man,
like that.
I ain't
done nothing, man. Or I can assign him 24 hours of solitary confinement, for example. So this prison doesn't actually have any solitary confinement cells, which is a bad example. But you can just if you see someone who's got a heavy drug addiction, you can just assign them to an endless succession of 24-hour solitary confinement, and they will go completely cold turkey and have the worst possible withdrawal symptoms that the game can muster. They'll be very, very sick and unwell, but it will bring their addiction right down. Once the withdrawal symptoms fade, the strength of their addiction will be much reduced.
Right.
It's just an alternative way of coping. I think that we've got drugs in from the simulation point of view now, but we're missing something in the drug system. I don't mind saying it.
Yeah.
We're modelling it reasonably well, but it doesn't yet have the kind of effect on your prison that I would like it to have.
Right.
You know?
Right.
It's not as serious a concern as it should be.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. But we'll see.
Yeah.
This is an alpha, and it'll be very interesting to see what people make of it, and we'll be very interesting to see if people end up with prisons. I mean, if you just let it run riot, and if you don't bother searching for drugs, and if you just let addictions take hold, your prison is going to fall apart.
Yeah.
Directly as a result of drug addictions. All right.
Cool.
Should we look at something else?
Yeah, let's.
Let's load up a different prison.
Before we do that, while you're loading up your prison, during the inevitable 30 minutes of dicking around with the microphones, I tweeted.
Right.
Let me read the tweet. We are about to record the Alpha 21 vid. Tweet your question so I can grill delay.
Okay.
Right?
And did anyone respond?
Yeah, we've got some questions. So the first question came in from Ionisk Folifedora. Okay. He would like to know, How is styrofoam made?
I don't know the answer to that. Do you know how styrofoam is made?
I don't know. Moving on. Okay, this is a serious question. Pert S has asked, how do you concentrate on a single project for years and not get distracted with any other cool game ideas you might have? I think Pert S, one of the things that's changed about the way we make games regarding the alpha process is having to get an alpha out every month doesn't leave any time to get distracted and start working on something else because you're constantly facing a deadline. Whereas when you've got a deadline which is maybe a year away or 2 years away, it's very easy to lose focus.
Absolutely.
So I think this alpha development is help focus the mind. So anyway, that was viewers' mail. Maybe we need a little sting. We need a little interlude. You can put a little graphic up.
Yeah, a little extra sound effect or something.
Yeah. Anyway, where were we?
I was going to explain that this prison, here's a nice prison with a mixture of prisoners.
Yep.
Different types. And for the first time ever, I got Johnny Nottenbell, our programmer, to do our technical director and founding member, Johnny Nottenbell, who's also a programmer, to do regime control for us. Ooh. So here's the regime. Right? You've seen this before. This is the regime that everyone follows. Well, now, for the first time, you can control it independently between each different security group. So here's your min-sec prisoners, your normal prisoners, and your max-sec prisoners. Maybe we don't want max-sec prisoners to work because it's dangerous to let them in the workshop. So we'll just have them locked up in their cell for this period.
Yes, I see.
And you see how the regime divides up. And now max security are in lockup. This used to be called nothing. Right? It used to mean don't do anything. But it was confusing because people didn't realise that meant they had to go back to their cells and be locked in their cell, but it does. Yeah. It means go back to your cell and be locked up. Yeah. And in fact, if you're max security, you don't get any free time either. There you go. No. So
well, you've got a bit of, hang on, what, 6 a.m., 7 a.m.?
Oh, yeah, look at that. Right, let's get rid of that. There we go. And we don't want that either. So there we go. I've just made max security's life much worse.
Much more miserable,
You can see that they're all locked up in their cells or going back to their cells because we've just changed the regime. Whereas the other guys, here we go, here's the normal security guys, they're out and about doing their thing. Some of them are working and cleaning. Some of them are enjoying this classroom.
That's very important.
Yeah, you can do other things as well. You might decide that you don't want all your prisoners to eat at the same time.
Yeah.
So I could do this, for example, and move this away.
Nice.
And move this away. Like this, and so you can see what I've done there is I've staggered their lunch times.
Yeah, I see that.
Right, so that they never override. So maybe they all share the same canteen, but they never see each other.
Nice, yeah.
Let's have a look at something else, shall we?
Yeah.
Let's have a look at our favourite rioting prison. So you remember me lamenting that prisoners never surrender, right?
Yeah.
So it's just a massacre, right? It means armed guards were not that effective because, well, they were effective in the sense that they stopped the riot.
Well, it was silly, wasn't it? It was comical.
It was ridiculous, the extent to which they would massacre your prisoners. And I just don't think it would go that way, because a lot of these guys, they might be rioting, but, it doesn't mean that they all want to die, crazy death. So let's have a look at this. Let's see if we can get any guys to surrender. There we go. He surrendered!
Right.
Hands up. Hands up, motherfuckers! Hands up!
Right.
Hands up, motherfuckers! Hands up! Oh well. He didn't surrender. The other guys did, right? So that's not so bad, right?
He looks like Walter White.
Yeah, he does, doesn't he?
Look at him. Look at him.
Yeah.
A little bit, not so much.
Pre-Eisenberg.
Yeah.
Oh dear, that was a bit harsh. Right, so the way that it works then is that they will shout warnings at people, and when they shout warnings at people, look, he's already surrendered.
Yeah.
Before they even came in.
I would surrender. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. So you can see that
his hands couldn't get any higher.
Yeah. You can see that some of them surrender, and then others that haven't surrendered change their mind once bullets start flying. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, all right. So this is actually quite an effective strategy now. You can see that this is bringing the fight to an end with relatively little death.
Yeah.
See? So
definitely less death.
Definitely less death. Now, don't forget, this is a full-scale riot, and so we always use this as our most extreme case. Once they've surrendered, they'll stand there for a little bit, and there you go. These guys kind of. Once they come out of surrender, you can see they're all a bit like, oh shit.
Yeah, they're looking down, aren't they?
They just sort of creep back into their cells in the hope that nothing bad happens. And so that's one of the key changes that I've made. Now, interestingly, if I what I've also done, if we bring the soldiers in, if you remember from the last alpha video, if you fail the game, the armed guards get called, so the National Guard are called to clear out your prison. Right?
Yeah.
It's one of those weird things where by making prisoners surrender, it actually makes the soldiers much more hardcore, seem much more hardcore.
Right, because they don't take prisoners.
They do a little bit.
Right,
but
they're much less.
Much less. They're a lot less restrained than the armed guards within your own prison.
Yeah, that's a nice distinction.
So they will accept surrender, but you kind of have to surrender quite quickly. And if you don't surrender quite quickly, if they start shooting at you, even if you surrender whilst being shot at, they won't really have it.
Yeah, because they've engaged you, so...
So he did actually surrender halfway through being shot. Maybe he didn't see.
Right.
The guy next to him surrendered in time. The guy that... Well, I'd surrender if I didn't have a body.
Yeah.
That would be a bug.
They've blown his body away.
All right. We've got one last big thing to talk about, which is not about Alpha 21. It is actually about Alpha 22.
Right, yes.
So, Alpha 22 then. Perhaps you should explain what we've decided to do.
I'll explain what we've decided to do. For us, launching the alpha process has been quite new. Brand new. We've never done it before. And it's changed the way that we've needed to develop. Now, traditionally, we would develop a game, take us 3 or 4 years, and then at the end of that game, at the end of that period, there would be a phase where we'd be looking at fixing all the bugs and issues that had come along. Now, we don't really want to do that for Prison Architect. We don't want to have to stop releasing alphas and go dark for sort of 6 months or something while we fix all the little annoying issues that maybe our alpha customers are willing to tolerate, but that the wider audience wouldn't be. So we've decided that we're going to take a month, and rather than working on any new features or new content or new system development, what we're going to do is we're going to work through all of the bugs, well, as many of the bugs as we can in a month. We won't be able to do
not all of them.
No, there's a lot of them in there.
Yeah.
So we're going
to put everyone in the team is going to work on just bug fixing. All the programmers that we've got, including Johnny Nonbell.
Yeah.
That's Leander and Gary and Andrew and me. We're all going to be there just fixing bugs for a whole month. It's going to be interesting to see what happens.
That's right. Now, it's going to be different for you as well as a player, because rather than one alpha build at the end of the month, we're going to be doing regular alpha builds, maybe a couple a week, that are going to be put out on a Steam test branch so that you can play and see how the bugs are fixed. In the bug database in Mantis, we are selecting the bugs to fix that have been prioritized by you, the community. And so this is, Chris is just bringing up Mantis.
Yeah.
And Johnny recently made a video which is available on our YouTube channel, which explains how you get your Mantis account and how you affect the bugs that we're looking at fixing.
Yeah, this is kind of the central place where we go to look at all the bug fixing progress. This is a list of all the bugs in the game ranked by community. Okay, so this bug, injured guards don't seek medical treatment on their own, is the highest ranked bug amongst our community that have signed up to Mantis. What that means is it's the bug that they would most like to see fixed. But our progress, the way that we're going to do it is we're going to just work down this list from the top, trying to do our best to come up with solutions and fixes for all of these bugs.
So that's it from us for the Alpha 21 video. Just to set your expectations for the next Alpha, there will be no new features. It's just going to be bug fixes. If you're not already involved in Prison Architect, head over to prison-architect.com and join in, or you can buy Prison Architect on Steam. We're on Twitter, we're on YouTube. I don't know what we're on. We've got forums, we've got Mantis, log a bug to communicate with us. I don't know. Get in touch, and we'll talk to you all in a month.